Hi, everybody. Welcome to class today. We are going to talk about clean beauty and makeup with Young Living. First, I want to start off with why I care. I don't know if it's obvious to you. I know this isn't a great recording, but I don't wear makeup typically. Like, no makeup. Why am I teaching a makeup class? I'm not teaching you how to put on or apply makeup. I'm teaching you about the importance of makeup. Because I will tell you that any makeup I use, I'm really aware of what I'm putting on my face and why. And it's made a huge difference in my willingness to use makeup. I care because our skin is the largest organ of our body. Most people know that, right? Especially nowadays, especially in an essential company or essential oil company. Lots of people know that. But I think another important piece that a lot of people don't recognize is our skin is a huge part to our immune system and our gut health and our brain health. Our skin is one of the primary barriers between us and the rest of the world. If we don't have our skin, we're in big trouble. If you've ever fallen and skinned your knees or had an accident where you were missing chunks of skin, right? You know how important it is to get that growing back soon. We need our skin. That's all of our skin. And it's important to our gut health because guess what happens when our skin hits our lips? It doesn't stop here. It continues into our mouth, down our throat, into our stomach. It is the continual system. We're kind of like a donut, with the inside of the donut, where the donut hole would be, being the inside of our body. So from our mouth to our anus, that would be the donut hole part. And then the outside would be the fun chocolate covered or sparkle covered or rainbow covered, whatever part of the donut. But all of that is skin. Our body is set so that if something happens in one part of our skin, our system registers it everywhere else. We're designed like this, and it used to be a very important thing, and it continues to be a very important thing. We see this when we put a product, any product, on our skin in one part of our body. So let's say I put something on my feet, whether it's an oil or a lotion or anything, one of those little pads, sticky pads, whatever, on the bottom of my feet. If I had a probe on the top of my head, the skin on the top of my head, it would take 26 seconds for that probe to register whatever I put on the bottom of my feet. Doesn't matter how tall you are. 26 seconds, it's already through, registering at the skin at the top of my head, even though I didn't touch my head, didn't put it there. It takes 2 to 3 minutes for that to go through our entire bloodstream and be in our bloodstream. Pharmaceutical companies figured this out, and they love this, which is why we have so many patches. We have hormone patches, motion sickness patches, we have pain patches, we have nicotine patches, we have patches for everything, because they know that subdermal piece, you just put it, or transdermal piece, you put the patch on wherever you're putting that patch on, and it will continue to go into the skin and straight into the blood system, and you get that flowing through really quick. So think about what that means in every other product in our life. We're doing the same thing. If you wash your clothes, which hopefully all of us do, and you're using any kind of laundry wash or soap or detergent, hopefully we all do, and then throw it in the dryer and put in dryer sheets or any kind of anything like that, that stays on your clothes. And then you wear clothes all day, unless you're, in a nudist colony or something, or on quarantine and walking around naked at home. You wear clothes all day. You sleep in a bed, usually with sheets, blankets. You dry off, usually with the towel, washcloth, right? We're rubbing cloth on our body that hasn't been cleaned by the products we use, and they capture that product, that goes on our skin, that goes into our bloodstream, and now our body is responding and reacting to all of those things. That is no different than the products we put on our face, whether it's lotions and cleansers and wrinkle, creams or scrubs or makeup. So what we do to our skin, all of our skin, makes a huge impact. When you're meeting somebody face to face, when this used to happen and in the future when it happens again, is the first thing you notice about people. Usually is the face. We're trained to notice the face. We're actually trained to notice the eyes for most of us. It's part of the safety. Can I connect? Can I not connect? Is this a safe person or not a safe person? Are they here or not? Usually we get that cues primarily from the eyes, and then we take cues from other parts of the body, but primarily the eyes, but we're trained to look at the face. So There's a lot of reasons why the beauty industry is so big, and they piggyback on that, okay, so if we're paying attention to the face, let's put our best face forward. Best foot forward used to be the saying, now it's our best face forward. It's important to pay attention to what we're doing and why we're doing it. So if you're going to the general store, I'm going to call it a general store, and picking up, you know, makeup and stuff from the beauty aisle, the makeup aisle, and then putting that on your face, anything that's in there could end up in your bloodstream. That's a big problem. It's a big problem considering what is included in our makeup. So the link to this from the skin to the gut, it's a pretty direct link because our gut is lined with skin. Oh, somebody's in the waiting room. Okay. Since our gut is lined with skin, basically skin cells, it's not exactly the same type of skin that is on, you know, the outside of our body, but it's similar cells, same classification of cells on our gut. But what they've been able to determine is that when you put something on the skin, we have a same reaction in the gut and vice versa. So I remind my clients about this all the time. If somebody is having an allergic reaction and it shows up on their skin to something that they ate, right? It's going from the gut to the skin, telling you, hey, something's wrong. Don't eat this again. I don't like this. This doesn't work. What's happening to your gut? What's happening to your organs? That reaction is happening there, or some version of that is happening there as well. It goes in both directions. If you're having a reaction on your skin, that could be as a result of your gut. Or if you get something on your skin, your gut could respond to that in the other direction. So there's a lot of sensitivities that people have in our gut now. We see this a lot. And it makes me really curious what might actually be part of the link to what we're doing with our skin and what we're putting on our skin. Is our gut really responding to what we're eating? Or is it also responding to what's happening at the layer of our skin? So it's really important to pay attention to. And then you take that one step forward to the gut-brain link, which we all know about. Everybody's talking about that gut-brain link right now. Super important. And if the gut and the skin is so directly linked, how would it even be possible that the skin and the brain isn't also linked? It's not. It's all linked. So it's important to pay attention to what you're putting on your body. Another thing that makes me really care about this topic is that there is a disproportional effect, especially in the United States and a lot of first world countries, by gender. Actually, all countries by gender. The average woman is exposed nowadays to about 585 toxins before breakfast in the morning. Holy Toledos, that's insane. And that number used to be way smaller. I remember a decade ago learning this number, and it was not that large. But the newer numbers that are coming out, they're saying 585. And that doesn't take into account all the crazy cleanliness things that we're trying to do these days with everything that's going on. Like, holy overwhelm. Our poor skin, our poor guts, our poor brains, our poor bodies, right? So it's important. But there's a disproportionate amount more toxic chemicals applied, or we're applying ourselves on women than on men. There are a lot of men that are using more products too, which is great, like great, wonderful. And also, right? We need somebody in this world to be healthy. We need somebody in this world not to be so impacted. So we have to do something different. We have to stop using these things. We have to clean them up. So let's clean them up so that we can play with them. Because frankly, I like to play. That's what it's about for me. It's not about beauty so much as having fun. So when I start thinking about clean beauty and makeup, the first thing I think about is having a clean palette, right? If you're going to paint something, whether it's the wall in your home or you're going to paint a picture, you have to start with your palette. So in makeup, our palette tends to start with our face, and it needs to be clean. If you've got a wall that you're going to paint and it's covered in old tape and adhesives and, you know, goopy peanut butter stuff, that's not going to work. You got to clean that off. Same with our face. And a lot of people that I know, when they talk about cleaning their face, using soaps, using cleaners, they don't really think about, you know, it's a cleaner, so it's going to wash off. So it doesn't matter what quality I put on that. Not the case at all. Not the case at all. Think about how quickly things are absorbed into your skin. So if you're using a low quality soap or a low quality cleaner, it takes almost no time for that to already start being absorbed into your bloodstream, for your gut to be responding and reacting to it, for our brain to be responding and reacting to it. This is a problem. So you got to start with clean products and clean stuff. With Young Living, I like to lean into the Art line and the Mira line for cleaners. So there are a few cleaners that Young Living has specifically for the skin. The Art Gentle Cleanser, I've used this for years, and it's fine. It's adequate. It does what I need it to do. I don't have any problems with it. I keep one in the shower. It's a little bit harder to travel with. When I travel with it, especially on airplanes, I notice I leak a bit out the sides here, which is kind of annoying. So not the greatest travel option. I'll, use something else for traveling, or I'll just deal with the leaky bottle. Once I get to where I'm going, I never have a leak, but for some reason in airplanes it does. What I've discovered lately is that I'm loving the Mira Luminous Cleansing Oil. I have a friend that works in the makeup industry, clearly dealing with makeup and skincare all the time. And she has been telling me for years that I need to get into oil cleaning. I need to stop using cleansers. I need to stop using soaps on my face. And I need to use oil cleansing. All oil cleansing is doing is taking an oil, a healthy, good quality oil, and using that on your face. If you use a soap, it strips. Soaps and cleaners strip things off our face. So if you've got stuff to strip off your face, go for it. On an average day, I don't have a lot of things that need to be stripped off my face. So using an oil cleanser, what that does is the oils mix and work with the oils in my skin. It basically replenishes the healthy oil in my skin, helps to clear out any of that film or dirt or molecules or anything that's hanging around that needs to not be in there. So I'm getting some extra hydration. I'm taking out enough of the junk off my skin that I don't need. And I'm, by the rubbing action of it, clearing out some of the dead skin cells. That's all I need for the average cleaning average day. Now there's a lot of people, and I have to admit, when I first started using a cleansing oil on my skin, on my face, I was like, oh, that's gonna leave me feeling oily and greasy, and I don't want that. So a lot of people are starting with the Mira cleansing oil and then following up with your gentle cleanser. I'm finding I don't need to do that. I put this in my hand. I use 3 pumps. It says 3 to 4 pumps. 4 has always felt like too much for me. I use 3 pumps in my hand. I turn on the water in my shower so it'll start heating up because it takes a while. And then I just start massaging my face. And honestly, I love getting my face massaged. So I spend time massaging into my jaw, massaging my, jaw on the side, my TMJ here, especially in the morning after having slept and grinded my teeth all night right now. I'm massaging all these areas of my face, and it's turned into one of my favorite routines of the morning. Like, who knew cleaning my face would feel so good? But because it's an oil, I can rub that around and massage it around using those circular motions and all those things you know to do from beauty class. And it feels really, really good. And then I get in the shower and I just rinse it off with warm water. I do know, and I've told this all the time, that the average American woman or man, the average American in the shower uses water that's too hot for our face. It's fine for our body, but it's too hot for our face. So I try to get in before my water has completely heated up to rinse the oil off my face. And then by the time that's done, my water is good for my shower. A lot of my friends that are really, really into facial rejuvenation, let's say, will wash their face before or after their shower using their sink so that they can control the temperature and keep it cooler without having to get that cool water on their body. So just something to be aware of. The temperature of water that you're rinsing your face with does make a difference. Don't want it to be too hot. So there's a lot of options for cleaning. Oil versus a cleanser. This is a foaming cleanser. There are other cleaners and cleansing options within Young Living. The charcoal bar cleanser, if you have teenagers or anybody in your family that's I got a nice little one of these I brought to class just for you all. Eruption on my face, we'll call it. The charcoal bar cleanser is really great. I have a friend whose son has a lot of eruptions but they're on his back. So that's kind of hard for him to deal with, but the charcoal bar cleanser works really good for him to help reduce the eruptions that happen. The makeup remover wipes is another great option for cleaning your face. Usually you would use this to take the makeup off, but I know a lot of people who are using these just to clean their face because they feel so good. And when I first got these, I sent a bunch out to people in my line because I don't have a reference for this compared to other makeup remover wipes, because I'd used makeup remover wipes maybe twice in my life. And so I was looking for feedback. And the feedback I heard, number one, was they love these because they're so much bigger than the makeup remover wipes that they were using otherwise. So they could use one and like really get all the makeup off, even if you had a glamour nighttime, like super going out sparkly look, you could get it all off with one wipe. The smell, way better than the smell of these other ones. And then it left people's face feeling way less dried out, way less like alcohol puckery, right? That like sensation you get after you've rubbed everything off your face and there's nothing left. That doesn't happen with these makeup remover wipes. There's 30 in a pack, and you know, they last as long as you use them. They're pretty good. I will say that the Luminous cleansing oil lasts me a really long time. This came out, what, 2 conventions ago, and this is my 2nd or 3rd bottle. So probably about 6 months. I use it once a day. I don't use it twice a day because I, you know, generally don't have makeup or anything like that. But it does last a long time. Little goes a long way. There are other cleansing options, soapy cleansing options that you can check out. There's also the refreshing toner in the Art line, which a lot of people like using toner. So if you're a toner user, check that one out. And then we also pay attention to, once I've cleaned everything up, taken off my makeup, whatever, you want to replenish and rehydrate your skin. So that would be where you run into, I have the light moisturizer from the Art line, and I have the intensive moisturizer from the Art line. I like to have both of these on hand. The light moisturizer I tend to use more in the summer. The intense moisturizer I tend to use more in the winter. And sometimes it's light moisturizer in the daytime and intense moisturizer at night. The intense moisturizer top pops off, and then you press down on this and just the right amount comes out the top. It's really cool. A little bit of both of these goes a long way. One thing I will say about the bottle, when I first got this, I was really sad when I ran out because I didn't plan well. So I didn't have an order already ready to go. I had to wait, and I was panicked. Like, what am I going to do? I don't have any moisturizer. What I discovered is if I unscrew the top here and pull it off, there's another week's worth or so of moisturizer inside. It just can't come out because of that pump application. So just like most of the products that we use, there is more. Once you feel like you're done with it, there's still more in there. So I would say if you're the only one using it, go for it. If there's more than one person in your house using it, you might determine who's going to finish the bottle so you're not double dipping. But unscrew that, and then you can get a whole bunch more moisturizer out of here. The other thing I saw recently that was really cool is a lot of people like this bottle and the application of it with the pump, and the right amount comes out. So I've seen a bunch of people getting their body lotion and hand lotion. So here I have the Genesis one, and they're refilling this bottle. Take the label off of here, put the label on here, and now you have your hand and body lotion in a nice dispenser. So I can split my big bottle of hand and body lotion, and I can have a little bit of in the bedroom, a little bit of in the bathroom, or I can take some of it to my office when I eventually get there, or things like that. So that's a nice way to reuse the container. And it tends to work for a long time. It's a nice way to split that up and have it be in multiple places. If you're looking for something a bit more supportive, so for spot support, I use the rose ointment. Rose ointment is a really great moisturizer. So when I've blown my nose just too much and it's raw and red and super crinkly and just doesn't look good, or flaky, or all those wonderful things, that's where I grab my rose ointment. Rose ointment, a little bit goes a long way. I mean, this is even one of the old bottles. Like, that's how long I've had this. I've had this for years, probably 3 years, and there's still a ton left. It's not something I use every day necessarily, but a little bit goes a long way. It's worth getting. If you use something like this a lot, another option that a lot of people get is the Animal Sense line. There, I forget what it's called. The Animal Sense, hang on, I have it right here. Maybe I don't have it right here. Animal Sense ointment, there we go. So that's another great option if you use a large quantity of that, of ointment like that. It doesn't have rose in it, doesn't have some of the same oils in it, but it's got a lot of that same consistency. It comes in a much bigger tub. So it's not as expensive because this has rose in it, like the real rose, not the pretend rose that other people are claiming. It's got the real rose in it. So it comes in a much smaller tub. The Animal Sense ointment comes in a larger tub, doesn't quite have that same oils in it, but it has a lot of the same base pieces. So if you're having super chapped skin because we're all washing our hands so much, right? Lotion may not be cutting it. If lotion's not cutting it, grab your Animal Sense ointment or your rose ointment and go for that. I know a lot of people, my mom especially, loves to use the wolfberry under eye cream. It has wolfberries in it, so it's got that already built-in antioxidant action, which is useful and wonderful and can help rejuvenate the look of your eyes, right? Less saggy bagginess. We don't want saggy bagginess. Let's see, what have I missed? There is also a beauty mask, a cream mask that you can do once a week or however often you use a mask. And then there's renewal serums and other pieces of products like that. There's also the Boswellia cream. So there's a lot of options, and the sandalwood cream. There's a lot of options for creams that can be good for your face or good for your skin in general. My go-tos though are in the Art line. It's the Light Moisturizer and the Intense Moisturizer, and I'm pretty much good to go. Whether I'm doing it for evening or morning, either one work just fine. Also have to think about protecting our skin. Oops, I have somebody in the waiting room. We also have to think about protecting our skin, right? So just having moisturized skin can be really protective. It's an important piece, something we all want and need to be thinking about, which means staying hydrated, drinking your Ningxia Red, drinking enough water, using your lotions. That hydration helps to prevent the microabrasions and the micro cuts that show up in our skin from normal life. We think about this a lot, or we're starting to think about this a lot in our oral health and what we're doing for, microabrasions and micro cuts in our oral health and how that then leads to things in our bloodstream. But we're also thinking about that, especially with so many people washing their hands and sanitizing, with the dry hands that can happen, right? If you're using a hand sanitizer that has not great ingredients in it, you can end up with really dry hands. The problem and the scary part of dry hands is that they can crack. And they can crack in a way in which you can't see or feel it. So a lot of people think cracked hands hurt. Not necessarily. Really cracked hands hurt. That's a problem. But they can dry and crack in a way that you can't see and feel it. They just feel dry. Those little tiny mini cracks and dryness can allow for our defense, our barrier, to be let down, and then we can have an immune response, an inflammation response, or things like that. So we need to make sure that we're hydrating all of our skin. So hydration and moisturization, very important. We also have to think about what happens when we remove hairs, whether you're removing them from your face as a man or a woman, or your underarms or your legs, or anywhere else that you're doing hair removal, right? What is under our hair? Our skin. So if you're taking this really sharp object and then running it against your skin to cut the hair off, not only are you cutting the hair, but you're likely causing little tiny micro cuts on your skin. So there's the Mira shave oil that can be really useful for that. And there's also, for men, the word just went out of my head, what's the, hang on, product. Shootron. I got there before this. There's the Shootron beard oil and the Shootron shaving cream, and then aftershave lotion. That can be really helpful to support men's skin, because men matter too. We all matter. So paying attention to that is important. I do know a lot of people in Young Living who will use the Copaiba conditioner as their shaving cream. It's a really thick conditioner. It's not like the lavender mint that's a little bit, it's still thick, but it's the Copaiba one is very thick, and they'll use that for their shaving product, pre-shaving product. So that's a nice option. We also want to think about long-term. So sunscreen, protecting. Young Living has two sunscreens, SPF 10 and SPF 50. They are mineral-based and water-resistant up to 80 minutes. There's a lot of different ways that sunscreen can come in the general consumption. We have chemical sunscreen, we have mineral sunscreen, and then we have nanotechnology, which is newer in our sunscreen in general. Chemical sunscreen works by going into the skin. It gets absorbed into the skin. That's the kind of sunscreen that you spray on or rub on, and then it doesn't feel greasy or oily. It just absorbs in. That absorbing in is part of how it works, because those chemicals go into the skin and create a barrier from the inside out. Guess what happens when it goes into the skin? It also goes into the bloodstream. Problem. And then if you get in water anywhere out in the ocean, it, you know, depletes the coral population. So the island of Hawaii does not allow any chemical sunscreen on the entire island. They only allow mineral sunscreen. Mineral sunscreen, the way it works is by staying on top of your skin. The particles are a bit bigger, so they do not get absorbed into your skin. So it stays on top, which a lot of people don't like, because then you end up with that white streakiness or maybe that like oily look. There's a lot of ways to deal with that. I see a lot of people taking their Savvy Minerals foundation and a little bit of their sunscreen, or a lot of bit of their sunscreen, and mixing them together to tint your sunscreen. So if you tint your sunscreen ahead of time with whatever your foundation color is, then you're not going to have white streaks. It's going to blend better into your skin. It's going to look more like your skin if you're picking the right foundation color. So that's a nice option for helping your sunscreen not have that white streakiness to it. It is something you have to play around with, though. How much to do, how much is right, how much mixing it in. You have, everybody's skin is different, and how much it takes of the foundation to sunscreen depends on how much sunscreen you're mixing in, right? I can't tell you it's going to be 3 drops or 5 scoops, or there isn't a magic number. You have to play around with it. So I suggest playing around with it. The other thing is, if you use the SPF 10, it's a little bit thinner. It's not quite as thick. And the SPF 50 is very creamy and very thick. So if you're using the different sunscreens, you will probably need a different amount if you're tinting them. If you are going to tint your sunscreen, I suggest either getting a little container that you can tint, and that way you're not wasting, or, you know, create a bigger one. But generally, starting with a littler one, a smaller one, tinting that for how you need it, use what you need, and then when you run low, recreate your tint is a good way to do it. So sunscreen, really important. The Nano Sunscreen, a lot of people were super excited about this at first, because Nano Sunscreen uses mineral particles. We like that, but it breaks them down into little tiny itty bitty pieces. And when they were first looking at this, it seemed like that was the best way to go, because it didn't land on top of your skin. It didn't lay on top. It didn't feel that greasy white streaks. None of that happened. But what we're discovering is that if you follow up 5 days later of people using these nanoparticled sunscreens, it's showing up in the bloodstream. So it takes longer to show up in the bloodstream, but it's showing up in the bloodstream, and we don't know what that means long-term. So we thought nanoparticle, the general population thought nanoparticle sunscreen was going to be the answer to that, you know, white streaky greasiness. I don't think it is. Not if you're looking for a healthy option. Deal with the white streaky greasiness. Mix in your foundation to tint it if you need to. your skin's worth it, your health is worth it, just use sunscreen. If you're really not going to use one of these sunscreens because you're not going to do the, you know, that creaminess, you can make your own sunscreen with essential oils. Different essential oils have different, some protective properties. The number one that I've researched so far, some protective one is carrot seed. Carrot seed essential oil has a lot of natural SPF in it. Guess what it comes from? Carrots. If you eat enough carrots, you have a lot more natural SPF in your system too. So it makes sense when you look at why we use oils or why we use the foods or plants that we're getting from and what will have natural SPF. So carrot seed, I personally think it stinks. Before we had the mineral sunscreen, I was using Young Living oils to make my own. You take a base of a vegetable oil. I tended to use avocado oil because it has a higher SPF of the vegetable oils. And then I would mix in carrot seed and frankincense. Frankincense is also a really good SPF-y one, a little bit of myrrh sometimes. And then I would put as much lavender and mint and other things in there to make it smell halfway like tolerable to me. Now I don't have to do any of that because I have the mineral sunscreen lotion. But if you're curious about the SPF levels of different essential oils or vegetable oils, there is a lot of great research out on the internet for that. There's some charts even for like how much SPF does olive oil have versus avocado oil if you're going to use it topically on your skin. So that's kind of a cool thing to look at and to evaluate. So if you need to, you can do that. We've already got the product. It's easy to use. It just takes a little bit of getting used to. Okay, so lots of things with protection. We also have the bug insect repellent. That's great use to protect your skin. There's a lot of things to do to protect your skin, but I really want to get into the makeup part of this because I've spent about half the time not talking about makeup. So in the makeup world, let me share these slides with you, just a couple slides. There we go. All right. So hopefully, well, there we go. Hopefully you can see this. So Savvy Minerals is the branch, the piece of Young Living that includes all the makeup within Young Living. Savvy Minerals is clean, it's pure, it is high quality, it's generally easy to use, it's cruelty-free, it's gluten-free, it's allergen-free, it's got so many free things after it, it gets a little bit insane. It's important to pay attention, though, that more than 40 nations have stricter cosmetic safety regulations than the United States. Some of these nations have restricted or completely banned more than 1,400 chemicals from cosmetic products. Guess how many are banned from the United States by the FDA for safety reasons? Hold up your fingers. How many? More than 100? More than 1,000? 9. 9. Like not 900, 9. The US FDA has banned or restricted, so not completely banned or restricted only 9 chemicals for safety reasons from cosmetics in the United States. Savvy Minerals has banned 2,500. Which is they took everything from the EU ban list, the European Union ban list, that's 1,328 banned from Europe. They took, of course, everything from the United States, that was the easiest one, and all of the common ones from the other countries that made up the over 1,400. They banned those, and then they looked at the list of things that were still allowed and still permitted, and they said, but that's still not a good option, and that's not a good option, and why would we use that? And we don't want to use that, and they banned all of that too. So in Savvy Mineral products, we have cleaned up the possibilities of what can even be included to restrict those 2,500 products. Those will never show up in a Savvy Minerals product, in a Young Living product. The average woman, this statistic grossed me out. The average woman eats approximately 7 pounds of lipstick in her life. 7 pounds. It's not like every woman is pulling out a lipstick instead of a granola bar and crunching down. That's not how it happens. If you put it on your lips, it naturally ends up in your mouth, right? I mean, think about it. If you've put on lipstick or ever seen anybody that uses lipstick and then quickly grabs a drink, look what's on the edge of their drink, always lipstick marks. You can see which one's yours and which one's not yours based on the color of the lipstick. But if it's coming off on the cup, it's coming off in your mouth too. A lot of women complain about lipstick because of the taste of it, but we don't think we're eating it, but we can taste it. If you can taste it, you're ingesting it. So 7 pounds of lipstick ingested. And the color red is the most common color of lipstick used, at least in the United States, but in many countries around the world. Red is most commonly created by crushing up beetles, specific versions of beetles. So they're crushing up those poor beetles, putting that into lipstick. You're putting that on your lips multiple times a day, and then it tastes funny because you're eating it. So how many beetles have you eaten in your life if you're a lipstick user? You're gross. Gross. So guess what is banned from being put in lipsticks in Young Living? They're one of those 2,500 things that are never going to be in an ingredient in Young Living. This is a picture that I took at convention last year. We had application to the Guinness Book of World Records to break a world record for the most lip imprints in a mural anywhere. So non-duplicated, everybody got one chance. They disqualified chances if it landed outside of a line. If you kissed the sticker on the wrong side of the sticker, it was disqualified. They were very, very particular and specific about what would make it onto the wall and what counted as a lip imprint. And so I said, okay, I'll do it. They gave everybody that went to convention a lipstick, and we all went up, men, women, didn't matter. Everybody went up that was willing to, kissed the sticker, put that on the wall, and got our things counted. And guess what? They actually had to shut the wall down a day and a half early because so many people participated. We exceeded by crazy amounts what they thought we would do. And they said, we don't need to keep counting. You've already won and we're gonna stop. So they stopped it. And Young Living now holds the Guinness Book World Record for the most individual lip imprints on a lip imprint mural. And all of the lipstick used on those lip imprints is the Young Living lipstick. So that's a little bit of random fun facts with makeup, but that helps me figure out why it's so important. So when I then start thinking about makeup and what I might want to use in makeup and share with others, I'm really thinking about what's in those products, why we would want those products or not want those products, and then what we do with them. So Young Living, I'm going to share my screen again. I stopped too soon. Whoops. I'm just going to go to the Young Living site, the general Young Living site, and share in their product information piece, just the products that are within Savvy Minerals, right? So in Savvy Minerals, we have blushes, we have bronzers, we have lipsticks, different versions of lipsticks. I'm skipping the brushes. I'm going to talk about those in a minute. Eyeliners, eyeshadows. We now have these eyeshadow palettes. All of these come in multiple colors. Everything that I've said right now comes in multiple colors. So if you want to click on one, you can see this is the natural quartz. This is what Royal Winter looks like. We've got a blue version. And the Sahara Sunset. Young Living eyeshadow palettes have a high saturation of color within the palette. So a little goes a long way. And if you've used eyeshadow or any makeup a lot for a while in your life, you probably remember back to, well, I don't know, it depends on how old you are. I remember back to the 80s and 90s when I would get eyeshadow and play around with it. And I felt like I had to put a ton on in order for it to show up. It's not the case with Young Living eye palettes. It's high saturation color. So a little goes a long way, which means it's going to last a lot longer. That's really, really nice. So let me go back. Eyeshadows, we have primers of a different variety depending on your skin type. Lip gloss, right? So think about that lipstick, 7 pounds of lipstick. That doesn't take into consideration how many pounds of lip gloss and chapstick we get and ingest. A lot of people think lipstick, ooh, gross. Chapstick, more than that for everyone. It's crazy. Make sure you're using good products. Mascaras, the exciting thing right now is that Young Living came out with 2 new mascaras. We have the general mascara that came out, and then we have a lengthening mascara and a volumizing mascara. These can be used together as well, and these are very clean mascaras. When Young Living first started doing mascara, a lot of people were complaining or not really happy with it because it was flaky, or it was sticky, or it was clumpy, or it was all these things. The reason it was all those things is because they weren't putting the chemicals in the mascara that cause it to dry quickly. That's on the banned list. That's not something we want. So if you're going to use any of the mascaras, the key is to put the mascara on, put your base coat on, and then wait for it to dry. Brush your teeth, do something else, and then come back and put on your next layer. Don't just put, because it's not drying between. You need to really because it doesn't have all that chemicals in it, right? This is one of the trade-offs. You got to take a little bit more time, not a lot, just a little bit. Let it dry completely before you put your next coat on. Most of us that are used to conventional mascara don't think about that. We just go scoop, 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 and then back, scoop, scoop, scoop. Don't do that with these. Put one layer on, wait for it to dry completely. The really cool thing about the lengthening and the volumizing mascara is that you can use them together. Start with the lengthening mascara and get your eyelashes as long as you want them. You can layer the lengthening mascara if you want them to go longer as well. So if you start, you put a coat on, wait until it dries completely, and then put another coat on, you're going to get a little bit more length. Once you've done that, you can move to the volumizing to fill in any other space. So if you want both things, longer and fuller lashes, use both. Start with the lengthening and then go to the volumizing. I wanted to make sure that I point out here is with the lengthening, they have plant fibers from pine is what promotes the volume and the texture of the lengthening one. And then this one uses essential oils, lavender. The volumizing one uses cedarwood and rosemary oil in it. So you're not like double dipping on the oils. You get a variety of oils, and those are designed based on what we want the eyelashes to do if you're using a volumizing or a lengthening one. So they're really, Young Living paid a lot of attention to what oils to use that is really good for the hair, really good for the face, really good for the skin, really good for the eyes, and put that all together. They also, one thing I really want to point out that I'm excited about, I'm going to stop sharing. Well, I'll stop sharing. Is that when they started looking at makeup, all of the makeup is mineral based. So if you think back to what I said about the sunscreen, this is where this matters. Mineral based is important. We want it to lay on top of our skin. We don't want it to be absorbed in, right? We don't want it to look like it's caked on and laid on top of our skin, but we want it to lay on top of our skin because it's paint on a palette, right? We don't want it to absorb in like if you're making French toast. You want the eggs to absorb into the bread so it'll make French toast, but we're not French toast. We want it to be on top of the palette. So mineral-based products are really good for that, but the brushes matter a lot. So when Young Living was looking at doing makeup and figuring out what they were going to do, they started looking at brushes. And there's synthetic brushes, there's natural brushes, there's all these different ways to do brushes. And they really wanted to make sure that they're using high quality products, cruelty-free, of course, meeting all the seed to seal standards that Young Living would naturally have. And they looked around at a bunch of companies and they found a company in Italy. And this company in Italy has been making brushes for painters for generations, many generations. They were very successful because, you know, in Italy, if I think of Italy, I think of wine and I think of amazing painters. That's just what I think of, maybe cheese, but wine and amazing painters, maybe olive oil too. So this company had been making these brushes for these really amazing painters, and they were top of the line brushes for like not the average painter, but like big name painters. And the company got passed down. And then the last generation that got it is a woman that's running it. And she was noticing that because of the way things are created these days, much more disposable, much more quickly, much more synthetic, they were having a hard time and they were struggling in the paintbrush industry. And then she started thinking about, she was doing her makeup one day and she was really frustrated with the paint brushes that or the makeup brushes that she was using. And she's like, you know, this is ridiculous. We could do better. And then put 2 and 2 together and realized, hey, this is the palette. This is the paint. I'm using a paintbrush. I'm just calling it a makeup brush. So they started to get into and develop makeup brushes instead of paint brushes, or in addition to. Young Living found out about it and started working with them. So all of our brushes come from this company in Italy that's for generations worked with paintbrushes, that is really good at knowing how to create them, how to cut them, how many different strands and fibers are needed in order to pick up the right amount of paint and apply it in the right way. If you get into paint or into makeup, you probably know that the wrong kind of brush, you put it into a paint or a makeup and it either won't pick anything up or it'll soak up so much that you don't even know what to do. And then you try and put it on the palette or your face and it's not going on smoothly, or it's not showing up, or holy cow, that's so much. A lot of us end up throwing away the brushes and just using our fingers, right? Great brush. With the mineral-based makeups, paired with the brushes from this company, the Savvy Mineral brushes, it makes all the difference. So if you decide you're going to try the Savvy Minerals makeups, the foundation, the blush, the eyeshadow, any of the powders, any of that, I highly, highly, highly suggest using the Young Living brushes. It's going to make a huge difference. Don't use your other brushes. They aren't designed to pick up the right amount of powder and mineral and colors and apply it the way that this needs to be applied. A lot of people that I know that used to be in or tried out the mineral-based makeup back before Young Living was doing it. There was another company that did a lot of mineral-y makeups. And if you were not in a humid environment, a lot of people that I know didn't like them. And they didn't like them because the application wasn't smooth, it didn't last long, it didn't work. And what we're seeing is that the brush makes all the difference. So use the Young Living brushes with your Savvy Minerals makeups. They are designed to go together by people that know how to put paint on palettes so that you can create your own masterpiece on your face. Fun, huh? Yeah, so the brushes matter. Your lips matter. Everything that you're doing on your eyes matter. In addition to all of that mattering, our men matter, our kids matter, and our animals matter. So even though we may or may not be putting makeup on all of them, it's important to pay attention to what we're doing with their skin, right? Our kiddos, we need to give them a boost from the get-go. The seedlings line, super useful, super great. Whether you have kids, whether you are a kid or not, check out those seedling wipes. It's a great way to do spot touch-up if you need to take something off and you don't happen to have the makeup remover wipes. The seedling wipes, really soft and nice to use on your skin. There's a lot of products in the seedling lines that are great. And for our animals, that animal sense ointment, really helpful for their skin. Of course, there's a lot of essential oils that are good for skin. The newer one that's been released is Divana. Divana is great for beautifying skin. It's also a personal scent maker. It smells different based on your own chemistry. So if I put this on and pass this to the next person over and they put it on and somebody comes and smells, it's going to smell different between the two of us. So Divana is a fun one to play with. We also have ones that are pretty typically known for skin. Of course, we have tea tree, Melaleuca alternifolia, great for skin. Frankincense, I happen to have it with a roller top and a regular because I keep this in the bathroom to help me with all of these little, you know, speed bumps on my skin, slowing down my speed bumps. Lavender is a great skin oil. Myrrh carrot seed, geranium, kunzea. Kunzea is really great. All of these are great depending on what it is that you want and need. One other thing that they came out with that I don't want to forget about for our teens or other people with eruptions, in addition to the orange blossom cleaner, the charcoal bar cleaner, there is an acne treatment. We have an acne treatment that you can use for eruptions that are happening on your skin. So whether you're a teenager or wish you were, or your skin thinks it still is, that's another great option for skin and skin health. All right, so I've talked at you for a really long time. I'm really glad that you all were able to participate in the class. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. There's so much information, it really just can't be included in 1 hour. I highly suggest going onto the Young Living website. Don't even log in, just click on the products tab and then go through and look at all the options, or grab your product guide and read it. Just read it like it's a book. There's so much information in there about all these products. There's also a whole bunch of little guides that you can get, resources you can get to learn. I get these from discoverlsp.com, just a great website to find general information for how to do and use essential oils in a healthy, happy home in a healthy, happy way. So I hope you all have a wonderful day, and let me know if you have questions. Okay, I'm going to stop recording.